I've had 3 research experiences during my undergrad astrophysics degree, and they were all a little bit different from each other. In the summer just gone, I was at the University of Oxford for an astrophysics internship. And now with my degree over, I thought I'd make a video with advice on how to get some undergrad research experience, with some advice that at times I was quite desperate to find. I have chapters in this video, so feel free to skip to whatever is most applicable to you. I'll first start off with first year advice, and then general advice, which applies to basically every undergraduate. And if you want to see a day in my life video for when I was in Oxford, link in the description. And although I did an astrophysics degree, a lot of this advice will be applicable for a lot of STEM fields such as physics, chemistry, biology, that sort of thing. Before I give advice for first year students or soon to be first year students, I have to give a bit of a warning. Most organizations or institutions won't accept you for an internship because they're mostly targeted towards second and third year students who've had a chance to actually learn something beyond the basics in their degree. But all is not lost. I had research experience in my first year of undergrad, so I'll quickly give you some tips on how you can do so as well. The first piece of advice I can give is to be inquisitive. You may not get an official internship, but if you have postdocs, PhD students, even lecturers or professors at your university, they'll often be willing to help an inquisitive student. This will often mean assisting in a lab, being given a small project to do over the summer, or helping one of these people do something that they don't really want to do. This is pretty much what quite a lot of internships actually look like, just doing a task that a PhD student has already done and then they're giving you to do, or doing something that they don't want to do, or just assisting them in some way, which is very, very good experience for your first year because you can get a taste for different kinds of fields. If it's helping in a lab, you may find that you like being in a lab or you don't like being in a lab. If it's with software, you might find you like software or you don't like software. Things like that. It's not going to be anything groundbreaking, especially as a first year undergrad, but it's something that you can get experience with and just get a feel for what it's like doing some sort of research or some sort of work in a field that you might be interested in. So contact people at your university that you might find interesting. Attend office hours and put your name out there. Even if they themselves don't have a position for you, they might know someone who does. This will also look really, really good for second and third year internships where you actually have a really good chance of getting a proper internship, especially because most people wouldn't have had experience in their first year. This is how I got my first research experience. I just asked lecturers in the department if they had anything that I could do. Most of them said no, but there was one who did, and I worked for 6 weeks looking at lunar impact flashes. And I think this helped with future applications that I made, not only for my internships, but even for my PhDs and master's programs. This was a really valuable experience. I had to learn a lot of new things, like writing my first report ever, learning new software, and just the whole process of learning new unfamiliar information. And once you get used to that, many other things will become easy. And like I said, it's a godsend when applying for other internships because they'll love that you've had previous research experience. And it doesn't even have to be that closely related to what you want to do. As the saying goes, you need experience to get experience. So in a nutshell, when you're in your first year, don't expect something super official, but just something that will get you some kind of experience. And one key thing to point out is that you probably won't get paid. I was relatively okay with this because I'd been working for the whole first year and I had some money saved up, but I know a lot of people won't be. You might be able to get some money, but probably not as a first year unofficial intern. For intern applicants in general, I'd say start as early as you can with looking for and preparing for internship applications. This involves writing a good CV, cover letter, personal statement, all the boring stuff you need to do. Because although it's boring, it's a great way to make a first impression and show all the skills and experience that you have. So you want as much time as possible to prepare to write these documents as good as you can. Everything should be simple, so black and white, nothing fancy. You ideally want this to be done before applications are open or early on in the process at least. Because once these documents are done, you can then customize them for each application that you have. Because most internship applications are quite similar. They're a little bit different, but most are very similar. Ideally, you should have experience or maybe your own projects to talk about with evidence just to show that you're competent for the program that you're applying for. Applications for internships in Europe are open from October to maybe February or March, but you'll want to apply early to get ahead of the game. And it allows you to apply for more programs. And if you get feedback on some of your earlier applications, you can use that feedback for some of your later applications, which of course is an advantage if you apply early. You realistically want to be applying for about 10 internship programs. Some people will apply to like 2 or 3, and some people will apply to 50 plus. I guess it just depends on how much time you have and how much of a competitive applicant you are. My research experience in 2022, which was in the summer, was confirmed in December 2021, so about 7 or 8 months in advance, just so you have an idea of the timeframes that you can expect. Applying early makes the rest of your academic year a lot less stressful because I don't know about in America and Asia and other places, but in Europe you often have exams in January. So for me, I wanted my internship applications done in October and November and then do maybe 2 or 3 remaining ones in March. I wanted the bulk to be done before exams. I have links in the description for where you can find internships in various places around the world. Another thing I would say is ask for help. Your lecturers and supervisors and anyone else in a senior position will know what other people are looking for when it comes to a good application. This includes things to emphasize, things to leave out, how to properly navigate the application process, and various things like that. So you shouldn't always rely on Googling things for help. Google is a great resource, but you should also go to your teachers for more specific advice. Do not submit generic applications. Make sure you're specific in your application about the place you're applying for. For example, if you got a response from someone who was going to supervise you in your internship and they don't know your name, that would be a bad look. Do some basic surface level research on the place you're applying for at a minimum. It'll take you some time to research the university or organization and the specific program and each of the specific requirements and the fact that some programs want different documents to other programs. But if it were easy, everyone would have an internship. So for my penultimate section of advice, here are a few warnings. First is prepare to be interviewed. I was only interviewed for my second year internship program, so not my first year or my third year. Some internship programs won't interview you at all. I don't know if it's the norm. Some do and some don't. So just check beforehand if you'll be interviewed, and if you're not sure, ask so you can prepare. Number 2, I would say apply for as many internships as you can. This is just because internships are extremely competitive. I applied for an internship earlier in the year that had over 900 applicants and only accepted around 7 or 8 people. So it is an insane numbers game, and this is literally around 1% acceptance rates, which is insane. Third and last, I would say be open-minded. Depending on the structure of the internship program you're applying to, you could be assigned a project that you didn't necessarily want as your first choice, or one that you didn't even apply to at all. This won't matter too much because 1, you might like the project, and 2, any experience is good experience. The odds that you gain transferable skills or just important skills to something that you'll end up doing later are like 99.99%. So it'll probably be a very useful experience regardless, whether you're learning coding, writing skills, reading papers, writing documentation. All these kinds of things are very useful and they'll apply to basically any experience that you'll have, and then you can use them for master's applications or PhD applications and the like. But if you can, only apply to something you know you want to do. That's what I did. So now I've covered everything I want to say, and here they are in bullet points. Firstly, get to know your lecturers and see if they have any opportunities for you. Prepare for your internships early, looking for vacancies and preparing your documents. Seek help from those in your university, professors, lecturers, supervisors, etc., for application help. And finally, be specific with your applications. No generic information. So hopefully this helps. Feel free to ask me questions in the comments below. Check the links in the description. And I guess I'll see you next week for another video of me talking about astrophysics.